Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Just wanted to jump on here really quickly and give you a quick update. It's not much to update, not much has happened. Today is Wednesday, November 21st, 2018, the day before Thanksgiving. And yesterday I had November 20th, Tuesday, I had my third, and hopefully last, HCG, beta HCG blood test. So just for comparison, I had my first beta test on Tuesday, November 13th, which came back positive, and I had an HCG level of 132.2. Then they repeated the test on Thursday, November 15th, and at that time my HCG level was 541. And then yesterday, the result was 4,886, which from the nurse's perspective, that was really good. So, you know, I think it's all in normal ranges. Today, being that today is a day later, I'm sure it's a little higher. Or I guess it should be a little higher. But anyway, so that's really the update on that. On Sunday, this past Sunday, I had a little spotting, and very little, very, very minor. I hadn't had any spotting. I didn't get any implantation bleeding, and or at least nothing that I noticed. And on Sunday evening, I had a little spotting, and to be honest, since I'm being honest about this whole process, and sorry if this is TMI, it was like with intercourse or after intercourse. And you know, I had tried to be so careful to abstain the entire time of the stimulation shots, and after the retrieval, and during the entire 2-week period, and all of that, or 2-week wait, and it's even been what, a week since that, and so finally in that call, you know, and it caused some spotting, some minor spotting, very, very little, and it ended, you know, if it lasted 5 minutes, I don't even think it lasted that long, the spotting, I mean. So, and yeah, so it was over pretty quickly. There was no pain with it. And I was very honest with the nurse about it when I called the next day. I didn't think it was an emergency, so I did wait until the next day before calling. And they said that that's actually really normal. And even with intercourse, that's really normal for that to happen, especially in the first trimester. But then they said maybe you should hold off and also take it easy for a couple of days, which also meant putting a hiatus on working out, which was my biggest concern. So I'm like, I don't care if I have to give up intercourse, but I really like to exercise often. I mean, it's usually 7 days a week, especially before the IVF treatment. Since I did not work out during the entire IVF treatment, while I was abstaining, I was also not working out. And as you know, you're shooting yourself with all these hormones that can increase weight gain. So I was excited to be cleared to work out last week, and had been working out, kind of trying to take it easy somewhat. It's really, I mean, in the first trimester, unless you get told from your doctor that you shouldn't, there's really no reason not to exercise. So, you know, some people subscribe to the theory that pregnant women should just sit around and not do anything and, you know, eat and gain weight, and I do not subscribe to that. Of course, I want to gain the weight I need to gain, but being active during your pregnancy is very healthy for you, your child, and your recovery. And so I was very active before this, and I hope to become active again, but I had to hold off now because of the spotting. So so she said a few days. So it's been, I guess, 2 days that I have held off on working out. I think I'll try to give it a week. I think, and then, you know, ease back into working out. You know, intercourse, I don't know when that'll happen again, but the exercise is important because it just makes you feel different during your day. At least for me, like, you know, I feel more sluggish and bloated and, you know, not myself when I'm just sitting around. Even if I try to watch what I'm eating, it's hard because, you know, you get your endorphins pumping, your blood flowing, and your metabolism up when you're moving and you're exercising. So that helps me get through my day, and it also helps me relieve stress. And I am always full of stress and anxiety, and so exercise helps with that. So it's really important for me to get back to it. I hope to, but I am going to do things that are pregnancy friendly and try to ease into it. Even though I think that had nothing to do with the spotting, but I'm still taking it easy. So next week, I have my first ultrasound scheduled. It was supposed to be at 5.5 weeks. Today, I am 5 weeks 1 day. Yesterday, I was officially 5 weeks. So I have my first test scheduled for next Tuesday, and ultrasound scheduled for next Tuesday, and it's interesting because I had a little bit of a hassle from the doctors with this, and maybe I shouldn't say hassle, but if you've watched my earlier videos, you know that this entire process, the reason that there's various reasons why I'm doing it, but the reason that I have access to it and the reason I was willing to do it was because I have really good health insurance that covers, you know, pretty much all of it, even the medications. And I'm very reliant on the health insurance, so I have been very blessed to not have a lot of out-of-pocket expenses with this. And so, but that's for IVF is under infertility, or maybe it's fertility. I don't know how they categorize it. But now that tests are positive, I am now in the pregnancy category, which is a different benefit of my insurance. Still a good benefit, but a different benefit. So the doctor that I was seeing at Weill Cornell for infertility is not covered for pregnancy, and so he wants to do the ultrasound. He said probably 2 ultrasounds, and he's not covered, and each one's $500, so that's $1,000. And I'm just like, no, I need to find someone who's covered. And he has some colleagues in his office that accept my insurance, and the interesting part about it was that they accept my insurance, but he wouldn't let me see them. He wouldn't clear me for them to do the 2 ultrasounds. So I was very annoyed about that, because it's just, why make me pay, you know, at least $1,000 for these 2 ultrasounds when we can have one of your colleagues do it. I mean, during the daily monitoring, I was going to various I was seeing various doctors anyway. I very rarely saw him. Oftentimes, I was seeing the some of his colleagues that did the ultrasounds. And so I am familiar with these doctors. So it's not like they've never seen me. And I honestly think I've seen them more than I've seen him. And since my day 1 consultation, which was almost a year ago at this point, I've only seen him 3 times. Now, I've spoken to him on the phone a few times, but I've only physically seen him 3 times. He did my consultation. He did my HCG test. He did my sounding, and with the sounding, he also did one of the ultrasounds, but that was it. He did not do my retrieval. He did not do my transfer. He did not do the majority of my ultrasounds during the daily monitoring. It was his colleagues. So I was a little annoyed that they would not okay me seeing them, especially when they took my insurance, and all I would have to do for the 2 ultrasounds is pay a $20 copay. But in the office, this itself wasn't really helpful. They kind of told me I need to find an obstetrician who could, this was his assistant telling me this, and she clearly didn't know what she was talking about, but she told me I had to find an obstetrician who could do, you know, at least a 6-week ultrasound and then a 7-week ultrasound. A lot of obstetricians won't take you that early, so I'm calling around for a couple of hours yesterday trying to find someone who could do it, and I couldn't find anyone, and I'm calling back his office basically screaming because I'm all hormonal, I guess, or maybe I'm just, you know, like this naturally, and I'm screaming at them like, you know, you're just stressing me out. Why are you making this so difficult? Let one of your colleagues do the dang on ultrasounds. And then finally, one of his nurses, they send me a prescription for the ultrasound. And of course, I'm trying to find someone to do it. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't need an obstetrician, as his assistant told me to find. I just needed a radiologist or scanning, like a radiology place to do the ultrasound. And lo and behold, I kind of backed into it, but I was able to realize that the New York Presbyterian Hospital across the street from the Weill Cornell Center for Reproductive Medicine here in New York City can do that. And no one from his office told me. I had to like back into it from like calling around for like 3 hours yesterday morning. So it was really annoying to have to find it out that way. But once I found out, I was able to get them to do to schedule the ultrasound. And with a doctor that my IVF doctor is very familiar with. So it all, hopefully, you know, and prayerfully, it is all worked out. But they did give me a lot of hassle about it. So I was really unhappy about that. And I thought to myself, I said, you know, if I have to do another cycle one day, I don't know if I'd want to go here. It was just, why give me such a difficulty about doing some dang on ultrasounds if you're not covered? They almost made it sound like it was absurd for me to want to go to a doctor that was covered by my insurance instead of just paying the additional money. Where I'm saying, if they're qualified to do it, they can do it. Why not do it? Of course, I'd like to see my actual doctor, but, you know, I'd actually like to have money for hopefully this baby or babies or whatever is going on here. So my doctor did order a 5.5-week scan or ultrasound and then a 7-week. So I will probably, I'm not going to do it exactly 5 weeks. So I was able to get it at exactly 6 weeks. So I'll be doing it at 6 weeks, and then we'll see from there. I did speak to my doctor about this afterwards, after scheduling this appointment, to where he kind of comforted me by explaining that he was actually very happy with the doctor. I was able to get to do it because he is very familiar with him and he thinks he's very good. And he's also across the street, and, you know, it's at the same, pretty much the same facility. I don't know why they were so difficult about this. He's not an IVF doctor, though. It's going to be done at the OB sonogram department at the hospital. So that's where they're going to take care of it. And so he was very happy that I was going to him. And he just said that because I'm going at 6 weeks, they may be able to hear the heartbeat at that time. They may not. But if everything looks good and they're able to hear the heartbeat, then I may not need to do a second one. And then he could probably just release me to an obstetrician. But it really depends. So hopefully he can do that. And ultimately, he told me one of the biggest reasons they do this is to make sure that it's not an ectopic pregnancy. So he told me that 90% of the time it is not. So praying that I am, you know, in that 90%. He said it is a risk, but 90% of the time it is not an ectopic pregnancy. But that is what they're doing, so they can confirm that it is in the uterus, and then they can look at the egg sac and some other technical medical stuff that I don't really understand. And then from there, if by 6 weeks they're able to hear the heartbeat, then and everything else looks good, then I should probably be okay. So I'll keep you posted. But it was just a lot of hassle. I was actually really turned off by the fact that they gave me all this hassle with just getting this sonogram done. I feel like it was unneeded stress. Like, you know, if I'm your patient and you really care about my health, why don't give me all this additional stress? I originally was blaming the doctor, but now I'm starting to think that it was more so his assistant who had no idea what she was talking about. Even though the doctor did not allow me to see his IVF colleagues, he said that he did not want me to see them because if they see me and something is wrong, then they have to take responsibility for my care. And so he would not see one of their patients. He did not want to put it onto them to see one of his patients. So whatever, maybe it's some sort of professional courtesy situation. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I won't see them. I'll just go to the radiologist across the street. Big whoop if it means a big difference to you. And he'll do it. And most importantly, he accepts my insurance. And so there will only be a $20 copay. So I'm happy about that. So happy Thanksgiving. I probably won't post again until around the sonogram. And I'll let you know. I wish everyone happy, safe, healthy holiday. Enjoy the time with you, yours, whomever, whatever you do to celebrate. You know, be blessed. And I will talk to everyone soon.